Are you thinking of moving to Torrance, California, or the South Bay in general? Well, these 5 things should help you get started. What's up, everybody? Shane Inman here, a local real estate agent in the South Bay, so Southern California and the surrounding communities here in the South Bay, so Torrance, Lawndale, Gardena, Manhattan Beach, Hermosa Beach, Redondo Beach, Palos Verdes. If you're thinking of moving to this area, feel free to reach out, call or text me or email me. I'd love to help you get started in your move, and it's never too early to get started. All right, so today's video is going to be a little bit different because rather than looking at some of the geographic areas around here, I thought we'd kind of go over some tips that might be a little bit better for people just getting started in their move or just thinking about the process of coming out here, and then things that are just kind of specific to moving to the South Bay in general. And so have people reaching out all the time and get a lot of different questions. So today I thought I'd kind of go over some of the tips that I often give out to people when they reach out about moving here and getting started in the process. All right, so tip number 1 is start early and treat it like you're gonna move tomorrow. So whether you're looking to purchase a home or rent in the area, I often have people reach out and they're like, hey, I'm moving here next week or I'm moving here next month and I need to find a place. And obviously, if that's your situation, you don't have any control over that. You've got to do it, and I'd love to help you. But if you can treat it like a 3-month or a 6-month endeavor, but it starts tomorrow serious, then it's going to make it easier on the process, because whether you're looking to buy or rent, it could be competitive. And so one, it may take you a little while just to figure out what is important in your search and what you really want and what neighborhoods you really like. You may have your price range figured out, but you may not really know where that price range fits into the South Bay and what community or neighborhood or city fits best for you. And so you want to give yourself a little bit of time to kind of figure out the neighborhoods and that kind of thing. Then you also want to give yourself a little bit of time to figure out what's really important as far as, is a newer home, is it an older home, is it a bigger home, is it a smaller home, do you need a yard, do you need, if it's a rental, do you need laundry on site? Different things come up along the way, and so it's good to give yourself time to figure all that out. But I would treat it like you're seriously looking today to move tomorrow. That way, it just puts a little bit more pressure and you kind of figure out what really is important in your search. And then if you find something great, maybe that something will come up again when you're ready to move. But it's good to kind of figure out what you want, find it on the for sale or for rent now. That way, when you move in a couple of months or or 6 months, whatever it might be, you know the process, you've got it figured out, and then you give yourself a little bit of time for the competitiveness of what time in the market is like, if it's buyer's market or seller's market, if it's multiple applications for a rental, if it's multiple offers to buy a home, and you kind of figure out what you're going to need price range and what you're going to need to get the place that you really want. And so give yourself time, reach out early. I'd love to help you get started, whether it's 6 months from now, a year from now, a month from now, a week from now, whenever you're moving. It's never too early to get started. All right, and tip number 2 is get to know the neighborhoods. So I kind of went over that as far as the process of getting started early, making sure you kind of understand the area and the neighborhoods. And because every little neighborhood is different and every neighborhood has different styles of homes to offer. So you may say, oh, I really want a updated, big single family residence. And then you kind of start looking at more the price range of what you can afford and what you really want. And you find out that the style of home that you really want doesn't exist in your price range in that neighborhood. And so you want to get to know as many neighborhoods as possible and really figure out what style of home is in that neighborhood and what price range is in that neighborhood. And then once you find out the neighborhoods that you really like, odds are the style of homes in that neighborhood are going to be very similar. And so as long as you like 1 or 2 of the styles of homes in that neighborhood and you like the neighborhood, because obviously you can't change the location, but you can always update or change the style of the home. So the location is key. I've done a few neighborhood video tours here in Torrance to check out different neighborhoods like West Torrance, South Torrance, some of the little pockets you can check out. And then, I'd be happy to check out any homes for you in the neighborhoods that you like and figure out what really fits you best. But yeah, do your research on the neighborhoods, figure out what areas you really like the most, and then from there, you get a better idea of what style of home you like within that neighborhood. All right, and tip number 3 is don't really focus on one city. You might end up changing your search criteria, and depending on what you're really looking for in a home, that home may not exist in the city you're looking at. For instance, let's say you're looking in Redondo Beach, and you're like, oh, I really want a big home, updated, and I want it to be under under $1 million. And that's not going to happen in that area unless you're looking at maybe a townhome and maybe it needs a little bit more updated. But every area is going to have a different style of home within that price range and within that neighborhood. And so if you say, oh, I really have to be in Torrance, or I really have to be in Redondo Beach, or I really have to be in Palos Verdes, or one of the communities here, you might be missing out on something that you really want, and it's just in a different town. And obviously, if the schools are important to you, let's say you already live in the area and you want to keep your kids in that school district, then that becomes a different story. But if you're new to the area and you're not really stuck on which school you want to go to, being open to different towns could be a good way of finding what you're looking for, because you may start out your search in Redondo Beach and then say, oh, well, I want, more single family residences within my price range, then maybe something in Torrance opens up. Or you may say, I want more land and I want to be I want more space around. Maybe Palos Verdes might be a better fit. So obviously this video is about Torrance, but when you're in Torrance, you could walk over across the street on Torrance Boulevard and Prospect, and all of a sudden now you're in Redondo Beach. So every town and city in this area is going to be pretty similar. Price ranges, they go up and down, but depending on what you need, you might need to go to a different town to find what you want within your price range. All right, and tip number 4 is to make a list of wants, needs, and deal breakers. So kind of as like what I said in the last one is, your wants and your needs are kind of going to steer you towards one area or not, because, if you're looking for a home that's not a more updated home, or if you're looking for a more updated home, then it might be in one community. If you're looking for an older home, it might be in another community. If you're looking for a certain price range or certain square footage, it might be more characteristically based towards one area than another, just because homes were built in certain time periods and different styles. And so the characteristics of the home, if it was built in the 50s, might be a smaller square footage, smaller floor plan, and might be kind of more tight directionally, so it's not going to be more of an open floor plan. So if you're looking for a newer, updated, more open floor plan, something built in the 1950s, if it hasn't been remodeled, might not be a good fit for you. So it's important to make a list of wants, needs, and deal breakers. So if you know that no matter what, you cannot live on a busy street, well then doesn't do any good to look at homes on that street. Or if you're like, oh, I have to have a washer and dryer in unit, if you're renting, for instance, then you're like, oh, okay, well then let's cancel out any units that are in a big community where it's a community laundry. Or if you're looking for maybe you're looking for a condo and you're like, okay, I want it to be a smaller complex versus a bigger complex. So whatever your search is, make a list of those, wants, needs, and deal breakers, and then that's going to kind of help you figure out the location that's going to fit best within your price range for where you're finding those wants and needs. And then, as I said, the deal breaker is going to be something that, if it doesn't do any good to go check out a home that is not going to work. And tip number 5 is to take a look at what's sold or rented recently in the area. And you don't want to go too far back, especially right now. The market's changed so drastically since the summertime. So you don't want to go back more than a month or 2 months or 3 months, so that you're getting kind of a realistic look at the market. And you're going to want to look within your price range, what's sold recently or what's rented recently, and figure out, is there something that sold or rented recently that you would be interested in your price range? Because if there's nothing that has recently sold or rented recently, then there's a very small chance that something out there exists for what you're looking for. So you're probably either going to need to change what you're looking for, or change your location, or change your price range. And so by at least looking at what's sold or rented recently, you can kind of say, oh yeah, I would have liked, if that one came on the market today, I would have bought that. And maybe the house down the street looks just like that. And when it does come on the market, then you have that opportunity. So just kind of gives you an idea of what that market price looks like and what you get for that price range. And so if you don't know how to do that, I'd be happy to send you what has rented or sold recently in the areas that you're looking for. So just feel free to shoot me an email or call or text me. And with that, I hope you have a better understanding of the South Bay and Torrance and the surrounding communities. And if you're looking to move here, I'd be happy to help you get started in the search.